Hello, this is Dr. Dickinson, and welcome to Unit 2 video, Best Practices for Technology in the Classroom. This video is part of TED 682, Instructional Technology, which is a course for the Clear Credential at National University. Our learning goals for Unit 2 is explore ways technology can be integrated into course content, to identify some strategies that can be implemented at your school site, and to create an activity that incorporates technology and meets the needs of diverse learners. So as you go through this video, you'll want to make sure that you download the graphic organizer that accompanies the video. We'll be looking at some different classrooms, videos, and some different instructional strategies. And we'll be asking you to share your responses in your live meeting. So one of the common and most practical and popular ways that you can integrate technology in your classroom is with an interactive whiteboard. Now this tool is hooked up to a computer or projector, and it displays images as well as websites on the board. It's interactive because students are able to manipulate objects on the whiteboard. They're able to write responses. They're able to drag and drop. It has a lot of cool features and functionalities. Let's look at some research right now. In 2009, Marzano studied some of the effects of interactive whiteboards and found gains in achievement. And here's where the gains of achievement were found. Learner response devices, which are devices that allow students to enter a response to a question. Graphics and visuals. So when interactive whiteboards were used to share visuals related to the content, or when they contain graphics, then there was gains in achievement for students. Also in terms of reinforcers. So if there were questions and students were reinforced when they received the answer, that also was found to be significant in terms of students' gains in achievement. So let's take a look right now at a video of a kindergarten teacher who uses an interactive whiteboard to teach reading instruction.
How do you do stuff all your time? And we're going to learn to read. Learn to read because we're doing word families. Yes. Do you see the word family right here, the at family? Let's click on the at family. Make a word with at. At. To match the picture. Cat. Cat. Can somebody come up here and make cat? Come over here and make cat. Show us how we do that.
So the students are going to use the pen. They're using a website called Starfall, and they're able to drag and drop the letter into the space to make words. See lots of graphics and visuals here for students, reinforcing what the teacher is providing instruction on, and that's the at family. All right. So another strategy that's commonly used is blended learning. And this approach to instruction combines classroom learning with online learning. So what does that mean? So you have your teacher-led instruction, then you might have a web-based assessment, as well as computer-mediated instruction, all combined in the classroom. Now, there isn't a specific combination here in terms of how much of this or that. It's pretty much to your own discretion. So you might see elements of maybe 20 minutes of direct instruction, followed by 10-15 minutes of students working on a project that's related to science or subject matter. Students might be taking a web-based assessment, or they could also be receiving instruction that's commonly found in videos like Khan Academy or CK12, which we'll talk about later. So again, there's a continuum here in terms of how blended learning is constructed. So you have elements of face-to-face instruction with the teacher, as well as synchronous learning, which is when all students take part at the same time in some type of inter-exchange. So again, it could be face-to-face, or it could be having a Skype conference or using Google Hangout. So you see these element of streaming interaction synchronously for students. Also elements of asynchronous learning, and this is when students are able to go on to any type of course management system or online learning tool, and they're able to enter information or receive course content at their own pace. So think of anything from email to a discussion board to a blog. They're able to go on, they read the blog, they respond to a question or a wiki. And also another element of blended learning is it's self-paced. Students are moving through the course and the material at their own pace. They could perhaps be watching a synchronous video, they're pausing it, they're replaying it, they're going through the content when they have the opportunity to. Also, the idea of this environment being collaborative. So when students are in the classroom, they're able to share, discuss, talk to one another, problem solve, etc. So let's look at a video of a blended learning classroom. And I believe this is a science class, 6th grade.
I started Blended over a year ago, and I got into it because I was starting to feel like I was teaching my kids science really well, but I wasn't really teaching them to be great students and great learners. With Blended, though, I can go up to kids and I can really know, are they getting what they need to get out of this? And then those kids that are, I can push them further and I can dive deeper into something with them. They were performing on standardized tests as well and really learning that content. And for me, that just really made me stop and think, oh, this is something, we're onto something here.
And everybody was like, can I hold it? A traditional program, it like takes longer and it's tell you the truth, it's kind of boring. But the advantages of having them blended is that you can get half your work done in the computer, and it's like fun to use a computer for your class. Man, that half part is that I don't find the traditional part boring anymore because like I know all the stuff.
It's just really freed me up as a teacher in my instruction, and I've gotten to know my kids so much better than I ever had in the past. I can tell you not only...
Alright, so you see elements of the teacher using interactive whiteboards. She's coming to the students and asking questions, so very constructivist. Students are collaborating. They're also working on their own in a self-paced learning environment. Alright, another aspect of this blended learning continuum that you may have heard of is called the flipped classroom. Now, with the flipped classrooms, it's a completely different approach here. The students will watch the teacher-directed lectures at home. So that way, when they are in the classroom, there's no direct instruction. It's just an opportunity for students to problem solve, share ideas, collaborate, work with the teacher, ask questions. So there could be mini lectures in between, but again, with this flipped classroom approach, the teachers will record a lecture of how to do something. So think of something that's very procedural in nature that you want to teach, and then use a classroom for the students to interact. So let's watch another video of a flipped classroom.
Sams, and I teach science here at Woodland Park High School. My ultimate goal, I guess, as a teacher is to help students become learners who can learn for themselves and by themselves. One of the problems that I was guilty of even prior to flipping my classroom around was the classroom was centered around me. I told them exactly what to learn, how to learn it, what assignments to do to learn it, and when to learn it, and how to prove to me that they learned it. I don't do that anymore. We changed the place in which content is delivered. Instead of standing in front of a class and delivering, here's how you do this type of problem, here's how this works, I deliver that direct instruction now asynchronously at home through these videos that we make with Camtasia Studio. Kids come to class, they don't show up to learn new stuff, they show up to apply the things that they learn at home and to ask me questions about the things they learned at home. So now they can have my lesson, if you will, what I would normally have stood up and lectured to them in class with some added features. They get that at home, and then what they were expected to do for homework is now what they do in my class. Life is different for me because I no longer am the guy who stands up in the front of the classroom and just yaks at a student for an hour or however long the class is. Now I walk around the class and I help kids. I'm a tutor, I'm a guide, I'm the putter-outer of fires, whatever it happens to be. In my crazy chemistry class, I walk around and do that. I don't stand up front and teach under the kind of the traditional model. I'm Aaron Sams.
Alright, so you see another example of how to change your classroom structure with the flipped classroom. Very popular for math and science classrooms because, again, the content is very procedurally based. So it's easy for students to go and watch a video and understand a procedure or practice a procedure for how to do something, and then be able to come into the classroom and really apply those procedures. Alright, now let's look at some resources and tools that are helpful for you to implement some of these instructional practices. So if you're looking for already created video lectures, Khan Academy, which is predominantly math videos, you can see this is a great tool where students can watch videos. There's also some online assessment tools that are incorporated and that you can implement for your students to watch as assignments. CK12 Foundation, also math and science related videos. Teachers have the opportunity to create flex books. Those are books that are kind of more self-paced, directed books related to course content, so it's easier to apply the content standards using this instructional tool. Bozeman Science for science video lectures, and some software that you might want to familiarize yourself with in terms of creating your own teacher-created videos. So Camtasia, which I'm currently using for this lecture, Screencast-O-Matic and Screener. Those are two free screencasting software that you can either you can download for free and create your own videos for your students to watch. Alright, some web tools for productivity that I found useful. For narration and presentation, having your students use a Prezi, or in this video I'm actually using a Powtoon, which is, again, this is a web-based tool, so you don't have to download it or purchase it. SlideShare as well. EduCreation, which is very similar to a virtual whiteboard. You can write on using a virtual pen. This is on the internet, and it will record you teaching a concept. Extra Normal is great for having the students use avatars to explain a concept. So you can have them demonstrate their comprehension of a story by creating two avatars and reenact a scene from a popular play. Glogster lets you create an online poster incorporating videos and audio text. And again, Screencast-O-Matic. For collaboration, if you were looking for some web tools that allow students to collaborate, Some popular ones that we've used in this classroom, in addition, is VoiceThread, Edmodo, which is a social media tool, allows you to create tests and assessments for your students, Slatebox, Google Talks, which we'll be talking about in our next lecture. Great for having the students collaborate on a paper together. Poplet, which will allow you to create virtual mind maps, if you will. Padlet, which is another tool that allows you to create a whiteboard and students can post comments about a topic. And Bubble.us, which also allows you to create a mind map. So some great tools for narration, presentation, as well as collaboration. So by the end of Unit 2, there are 4 things that you need to complete. First, you will create a blog post of your choice for our next discussion board. The blog post should be something related to integrating technology. So it could be about blended learning. It could be about using mobile apps. Anything that's of interest to you. And you'll create a blog post. Please be sure to share that in our discussion board forum. Next, your assignment for Unit 2 will be for you to record a video cast about how you might integrate technology in your classroom. The next discussion board, you'll have to create a Poplet for brainstorming a lesson. So you'll have to log on to the Poplet site and brainstorm different ways that you can integrate a web tool or an instructional strategy into a content area. You'll want to share that Poplet with your classmates as well as myself so that we can give you comments and feedback. And then finally, using that information from the Poplet, you'll design a lesson that integrates technology. Well, I know that you'll have a lot of work to do on Unit 2. Hope you enjoyed our lecture, and please be sure to post any questions in our virtual lounge related to Unit 2.